lies so that you can accurately predict what the ball does. The stroke itself is very simple, and Mike's just briefly went through a couple of the pieces, but we're going to go through here some more and or some of it in just a little more detail here, Mike. So Michael, go ahead and do his setup again. I'm going to go through it quickly, just the setup. The weight is 70-30. The ball's on the inside of the back foot. The handle's on the inside part of the front leg. The foot is turned out 20 to 30 degrees. The arms are straight. The shoulders are nearly level to the ground, about 5 degrees tilted. The center of the shoulder turns over the inside part of the left foot. The neck is tilted down, or the neck is tilted forward, and the tilt of the neck is like right in line with the spine. Okay? Okay, now, and then we just discussed how as the ball moves back that the angle of the club face is going to stay square to the target line, which because the ball is back is going to be in a de-lofted position. Okay? Okay, now, Mike, as you go back, the backstroke here, you're just doing what with your shoulder?
I'm just tilting my shoulders to the left.
So you're just tilting, okay? And that's important, very important in the chipping stroke to know how it starts. So many people I see, poor chippers, when they start back, they don't turn their shoulder down enough. And as they do that,
the angle of ascent gets really shallow.
Correct, correct. So as Mike sets up here, as he tilts his spine to the left and lowers his shoulder, you'll notice, again please Mike, that the club and the hands ascend off the ground.
The club is supposed to come away from the ground. It's not low and slow.
Exactly.
It should come out away from the ground.
Exactly. So, and then the question then, Mike, is how is the club coming off the ground?
By the change in the tilt.
By the change in the tilt, thank you. So you're tilting the spine to the left, lowering the shoulder, which is making the hand path, taking the ascent of the hands upward. Okay, that's how the club is coming off the ground. If Mike turns his shoulders level to the ground, the hands move too level, the club won't hardly come off the ground. It stays too low, it goes too far inside. This is one of the biggest pieces I see in the extremely poor chippers of people who cannot make solid contact is when they swing back, their shoulder turns too level, their ascent of their hands is too level, and the path of the club is too level to the ground, moving too far to the inside. Okay, now, Mike, you talked about what starts the swing and its importance of it. What would you say is happening to the weight in this stroke?
It's staying forward throughout.
Okay, so it's not moving back on the backstroke.
No.
Okay.
Say it's 70-30 at address. It's staying 70-30. It's probably going to 80-20 when I finish hitting the ball. It's just staying forward.
Okay, very good. Now, on the backstroke, Mike, what would you say is happening to the club face here? Are you opening the club, or what are you doing here?
Well, I'm standing closer to the ball. The handle's more vertical. The club face is staying square to that, more of a straight line or a straighter path.
Okay.
As I take it back, it's not rotating open or closed.
Okay, so you're not trying to open it.
No.
It's staying more closed relatively to the ball because he's closer to the ball. This is how, and the reason for this is if Mike gets closer to this ball, okay, and he raises the shaft up, the plane that he's swinging on is getting steeper, and that's slowing down the rate that the face opens. This is how Mike can be very, very accurate, how he can hit the ball very, very straight on these short shots. If you're having problems starting this ball straight enough, then the first thing you should do is look at the distance, your alignment. The second thing you should do is look at your distance from the ball. And the third thing you should do is to monitor how much opening or closing the club is doing on the backswing. Okay, so now we've done the setup. We've discussed a little bit about the backstroke, about how the shoulder is turning, how that's making the spine is tilting, how that's making the ascent of the hands and the club head. And we've also talked about how there's no rotation in the arms or the club face. Okay, now Mike, will you just talk about the angle and the right wrist and the shaft throughout the backstroke here? What are you doing there?
Again, similar to the full swing, I'm maintaining the angle between my right arm and my club shaft right here. I'm not letting it break at all through the swing.
Okay.
And also at the same time, I'm keeping my arm straight.
Okay, so there's minimal flexing of the back arm on this stroke. Okay, so the arms are staying nearly straight. Okay.
One of the reasons for that is I don't need much power at all here, and the flexion in the arm is another lever, which is another source of power in the swing.
Correct. So as he gets closer to the green and closer on these short, really short shots like we're on the fringe here, there's no flexing of the arm. There's no hinging of the wrists. Okay, go ahead and sit up there then, please, Mike. So as he goes back, okay, as he wants to hit these really short shots, you see that as he goes back, no flexing of the arm, no hinging of the wrists, okay? And as he comes through, all he's really going to do is keep the angle of the shaft and the right wrist the same, okay? Keep his arms straight. Continue through, please, Mike. And keep his weight on his front foot. There would be no breaking of the wrists, flexing of the arms, turning of the club, right? There would be none of that. So, Mike, if you will, just demonstrate a couple more times then the simplicity of this stroke. Once we went through the checkpoints for the setup, which is the preparation and the understanding of how the lie and the surface affects the ball, the most important things here, the stroke itself is just a side tilt to the left, arms staying straight, minimal wrist cock, okay, arms staying straight on the follow through, minimal cocking of the wrists and no uncocking of the right wrist bend there. And the way he's able to do that as he comes through, someone might ask, how do I keep my wrists from breaking? The way he's able to do that is on his follow through. When Mike does his follow through here, you'll notice that his hips have turned like 45 degrees and his shoulders have turned like 60 to 70 degrees. Okay, the way he's able to keep his arms straight and to keep his right wrist bend locked is to keep turning through the shot. If his body doesn't turn, if he stops, then this club will overtake his hands too fast. So the way Mike's able to keep the angle of the right wrist bend and the way Mike's able to keep his arms straight is that Mike, when he comes through with his weight forward, keeps turning. Okay, any stopping of the pivot will make the club uncock too fast.
Sometimes there's a need for more thrust in the shot. You need to hit the ball further, you need to hit it higher.
Deeper rough, you need to swing harder to get the ball out of deeper grass. Higher shots than the basic motion with the open face will provide. There's certain situations where there's a need for more thrust and chipping. Mike, what would be the next piece in the progression that starts to add thrust to the stroke?
Well, longer backstroke would be one. Adding more wrist hinge.
Okay, so as Mike needs to A, hit the ball farther, or B, start to hit the swing faster because he's in deeper grass, then he would start introducing the wrist cocking on the backswing. Okay, so as he goes from basic chipping motion to a longer stroke, or to a shot that needs more thrust, more clubhead speed for whatever reason, be it distance, be it deep grass, he starts cocking the wrists more. You can see now the wrist angle is cocking. Okay, and now on the follow through, you can see that in this procedure, he still kept the arms straight and not recocked the club yet. So the first thing he would do is just to start cocking the wrists on the backstroke. Okay, like that. That would start to give him more clubhead speed for situations like the rough. He's still doing the same procedure as the follow through, cocking the wrists, but still the arms stay straight, the flying wedge coming through.
If you want to hit the highest, softest shot, you add the wrist cock on the backstroke, On the through swing, you're going to add wrist cock again. So instead of having a long arc here where the arms are straight and the club is in a straight line with the hands and arms, on the highest shots, the club's going to recock and the club's close to your body.
Would you demonstrate that again, Mike, the long arc? See how wide his swing is here when he did not recock the club. This is the slowest club head speed. Okay, one more time. Mike, the longest arc. He has the arms still straight. The right arm and the shaft are parallel to the ground, just like that. Okay, this is the slowest club head speed, but it's also the best distance control. Okay, now, that's why it's basic motion. But sometimes basic motion won't work.